I'm Julie David, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about an organizational tool that I use that keeps me sane. It's called my checkout notebook. And I mentioned it in another video that I made, and I had a big response. Lots of people were curious about it. So I thought I would just take a couple minutes and break it down and tell you how I use it and what's involved. So first of all, for a checkout notebook, you need a super cute notebook because you're going to have it with you a lot. So I like these notebooks that are at Staples, and honestly, they're like $6 or $8. I go through about 3 of them. I'm already ready to I need a new one because the binding is breaking because I use them so much. But I just like that they're pretty and it's fun. So inside my checkout notebook, I am going to have everything I need for a sponsoring packet, everything I need for a Hostess packet, and everything I need for my customer folders at my shows. And I'm also going to have in here all of my information on my recent hostesses, my current hostesses, and my future hostesses. That's a lot in that little teeny folder. So that's why I keep it with me all the time, so I'm always prepared. So one of the first and most important things you're going to need to understand about this checkout notebook is that I use it for my hostesses. So inside I have hostess information sheets. So what I do is in the back, I have folders where I store everything, and my very first folder is labeled, I know this is very high tech, you're very impressed, I'm sure, scribbled in my little messy handwriting, it says hostess sheet. That's so that when it goes empty, I know what goes there. I mean, my poor folders, look, they're all breaking, taped together. It's very well used and well loved. But these are the hostess sheets, and so I just pull one out. And when I book a show with a gal, I just pull that out right at the show, right in checkout, and I have her fill it out. It's very important that she fills it out herself because she is going to have some ownership involved in that, and she knows she's taking it a little more seriously, it's a little more professional, but I also want her information. So I want to know that I've got her address right, and I want to know if she texts. I want, down at the bottom, I have a little statement that says, do you have daytime availability to meet for 20 minutes to discuss how to have a fantastic show? So if I'm feeling rushed in checkout and I forget to ask her if we can set up a time right now for when I can come over and help her to have a great show, this will remind her because she'll kind of make a comment about it, or I'll take it and I'll look at it and I see the yes checked and I know to set our time, and there's actually a slot for that up there. So she writes her name, her show date and time, ensuring that I get a show date and time before she leaves, and her coaching date and time. Now over here, this is for jewelers only. If you do not have Hood and House, this is going to be a great way for you to have a quick visual of how your show went. What was the show total? What was your profit? So you can take the information that Premiere flashes on the screen after you submit a show and write it down here. This is going to be great for your tax purposes and just for you to be able to know how well you did. If you're going to give any different kind of prize, you can write that down. Sometimes I offer special prizes for hostesses and I don't want to be confused and forget. So that goes on here. This then goes into one of these paper protectors. So I just slide it right in. Doesn't matter if she booked this show for 6 months from now or even a year from now. I'm going to slide it in. It's a show. I've booked it. I want this tiny little piece of paper in that checkout notebook so that I can follow up with her and hopefully move it closer to now. In the back of this piece of paper is a checklist, and these are the things that I generally do to get a hostess ready for a show. So if you're curious about what I do, you can look at this checklist. These are just some, you can adapt this to however you want for what it is that you do, that you will feel like you've got your hostess fully ready for her jewelry show. Remember, your hostess is your partner, and that really is the key to your success in Premiere, is helping her to have a successful show. Anything I get from the hostess, from her pre-sales or her guest list, either she's going to email me addresses or she's going to mail them to me, go old school and write them out. As soon as I get them, it goes in here. That way I don't lose it. If she emails it to me, I print it out. Either, sometimes I don't even print it out on labels yet. I'll just print it on a piece of paper and stick it in here. That way I know I've got it, and I've got it right there in this folder. Once the show is held, I will take the order forms and the guest surveys and slide them in the back. So that way I don't worry about losing any of them. And everybody has their own little slot. So if I have shows day after day, you know, a Thursday show, a Friday show, a Saturday show, I don't have multiple order forms or pre-sale slips or guest surveys all floating around in my bag or in my money bag. They all go right in there. So I keep all of those, and when I take it out is after the hostess has gotten the jewelry, delivered the jewelry, everything's good. I don't need to follow up with anybody anymore. It comes out of this 3-ring binder and hopefully into a giant 3-ring binder that I have for the year. It doesn't always make it, but that's the plan. So we want to put it into that big 3-ring binder. All right, so what else do I have in my checkout notebook? Okay, in the front of my checkout notebook, I just utilize all the spaces. I have stuff for sponsoring. So I have a What Premier Has Done For Me paper, which is a bunch of stories from people on my team. And then, you know, my last 10 shows, I might have a brochure from Premier. Then in the back, so I have all of my Hostess papers, right? They're all in here, future shows. Then I have a couple empty slots for other shows. Then I have the We Love Premier paper, and if I'm going to use some of these to store my stuff, I make sure I label them, because once they're empty, you won't remember what was supposed to be there. This We Love Premier sheet is what my hostesses get when they're going to watch the video, because if they watch the video and fill out the follow-along sheet, they get a jewelry organizer. So at checkout, they will receive a small little piece of paper telling them the website to go see the video that they can earn a clip it. But I'll also give them this when they book a show. And I'll say, hey, you get to double dip. If you watch my video in the next couple days and give me a call, you're gonna get that free clip it. But when you watch it, just fill this paper out. And then when you have your show, you'll get a jewelry organizer too, just like Sally did. So you get to double dip. It's a 2-for-1. It's awesome. Now, I also give this out for sponsoring. This is the Premier Payoff Plan, and then I typed up how easy it is to pay off your boutique and jeweler fee in 5 shows or less. So if someone's interested in Premier, they'll also get that. So I'm just pulling things out that I think they specifically would need and like. Okay, back here are my folders. So we've got the hostess information sheet. We've got the closing out your Premier Jewelry Show. This is the I Get Paid to Sparkle sheet. This is what I'll pull out at the end and write in what the hostesses is going to get. It will get for free, and of course how much I made and who she should follow up with and when we're going to close the show. All very important information. So that gets its own folder. Then I have the stuff that goes in my hostess packet. So I have the 40 guests in 4 minutes. The tic-tac-toe board, which is what we go over when I coach her. And everything's labeled, because if I don't have a label and it's gone, I truly go brain dead and I think, what was in that folder? Okay, so I have them all labeled. So this is my pre-sale order form. I have 4 on a sheet, and my hostess wish list, okay? Now, I also in the back have everything that goes in my customer folder. So I have the guest survey, I have the We Love Premier paper, the Love It list, and the customer receipt. And the reason I have that is in case I have extra people at my show that I wasn't expecting, I have plenty of supplies. I generally only take 10 to 12 folders for my customers, and then I have my checkout notebook. If anybody else shows up, I can just pull out and make little piles. I use either the boards from the incentive site or I use a folder. And I take a couple minutes in my show to share some fashion tips. And it's really just like 2 or 3 minutes. My tip is extra material is your enemy. And I talk about how we want to drop our neckline or use jewelry to create a drop neckline. We want to raise our sleeves to 3/4 so that we can add our arm candy. And how wide leg pants are our enemy. And so I like to have a little visual, so that's in their folder or on the back of their board. And then I just have their guest survey, the We Love Premier paper, which talks about my video, and I ask all of them to watch it and take this paper home. On the back of it has my first 10 shows so they can see what my hostesses got for free and what I made back 8 years ago when I was the girl who didn't know how to wear jewelry, and I was very quiet, and I didn't have hardly any self-esteem. Not the senior leader that stands before you. That girl made all this money. So my net profit for my first 10 shows was $2,700. So that's pretty impressive, and I want them to see those numbers, not necessarily my numbers right now. So we're gonna have their guest survey, the love it list, of course, so they can tell me all the things that they love, and their order form. So that all goes in here or in the folder, but I have extras in my checkout notebook. This keeps me sane. If I go and take my kids to soccer practice, I have it with me and I have my phone. So I have all those guest surveys, order forms, all of my hostesses information, so I can call and follow up and check in and text and make red stamps. I'm always able to work my business on the fly. And if I happen to meet somebody while I'm out at soccer practice, I have everything I need to give her, along with some catalogs that are probably somewhere in my car, for her to be ready to have a great jewelry show. So I've got everything at my fingertips. I hope this helped you. And if you want any of the things that are in my checkout notebook, you can go to my website, which is joyousjewelers.com, and the password is joy. And I have a section called my checkout notebook, and I have everything on there, or what Julie is currently using is also another page. And you can see all the things that I'm using, and you can take them and edit them and make them better, because you're probably way more creative than I am. But if you do, send it back to me so I can use it too, because I'm always looking for cuter ways to have these papers look. So thanks for taking a couple minutes to learn about the checkout notebook. I hope it helps you to get organized and to book lots of shows.